الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. Then we are today starting the explanation, the sharh of Nawaqid al-Islam by Sheikh Dr. Abdul Muhsin Al-Qasim, who's an imam and a khatib in the Prophet's Masjid sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And we chose this explanation because it was easy and brief, and this explanation was originally in audio, and so we have to take in mind that the person who transcribed it just as the Sheikh spoke, and it wasn't reviewed by him and then put in book form. So we know when we speak, maybe in the middle of a sentence we take a turn of our thought, or we have a slip of the tongue, or we repeat ourselves, and if you were to write down our speech, it might seem a little bit incoherent. It's not the same as authoring the book. So we have to keep that in mind, that's what we have here. And we have the audio of the Sheikh, which, when listened to side by side with the transcription, it might make a little more sense, because you hear the intonation, when I go back and when I say that and I go back and I do the stutter stuff like that, you can kind of see it, whereas if you read it, you might just become confused. So the audio is available, and I'll send it to you inshallah ta'ala if I didn't already do so in the past. And I believe it's already up on YouTube. I believe it's already up on YouTube. I think I put it there a long time ago. This playlist in phase 2. Anyway, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to read it, and then what we'll do is we'll go through it word by word as we've always done, and then if there's some necessity for explaining maybe the way of the sentence, or like I said, the speech of him, since it was an actual talk, then we'll explain that a little bit. Bi-idhnillah ta'ala. This was done in the year 1432 in the Prophet's Masjid. 1432. Let me see, I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Yeah. This تم الشرح هذا المتن خلال الفترة. This was done. This was completed in the period of Sha'ban, the first of Sha'ban. It was done basically in one sitting. It's about 26 to 30 minutes long, the audio, in the Prophet's Masjid, right? So it was done on the first of Sha'ban in the year 1432. All right. So he says, and we know how this works, that what happens is the Sheikh will talk, and then there will be a Qari reading the matan, and then the Sheikh will insert his explanation where he feels necessary. So he says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And this is the issue here, it doesn't have vowels. So we're going to have to work with this, right? But when we read Fawzan's book, it's not going to have vowels either. We're just going to have to figure it out. And we have enough tools, inshallah, to figure out most of it from Nahwu classes and other classes you guys might attend, so it's not a problem, inshallah. Muqaddimah, of course, he didn't say this, but this is what whoever typed it and put it together in a PDF form, right? Muqaddimah introduction. He says, فَمِنْ أَعْظَمِ الْإِبَادَاتِ في كل عصر. في أعظم أو فمن أعظم العبادات في كل عصر. From the greatest of ibadat, acts of worship, في كل عصر, in every time period, in every time, every period. هو العلم, it's knowledge, right? ويتأكد العلم بطلبه وحفظه والرسوخ فيه. ويتأكد, يتأكد from this alif, kaf, dal, meaning to confirm or to corroborate, right? To strengthen, right? And what strengthens knowledge, ويتأكد العلم بطلبه, is, and what does this, what strengthens knowledge, what corroborates knowledge, what confirms knowledge, and the fact that it's from the greatest of ibadat in this time, is talabihi, it's seeking it, talabihi, right? Talabi, meaning the seeking it, right? Wa hifdhihi, and memorizing it. Wa rasukhu fi, rasukh, we know this probably from the ayat in Ali Imran, rasikhuna fil ilm, rasikhuna, right? Rasikha, meaning to become firmly grounded, to be well established or firmly grounded in it, right? Warusukhu fi, and to become established in it. Fi zaman tamuju fihi al-fitan. Fi zaman, and zaman is a similar word to the word asr, meaning time period, right? In the time or a phase or something like that, time. Fi zaman tamuju fihi al-fitan. In a time when, fitan here is our fa'il, right? Tamuju is from meen, waw, jeen, right? Maybe if we read the next phrase, kamawj al-bahr, right? The plural, amwaj, meaning waves. Kamawj al-bahr, like the waves of the ocean. Tamuju is the verb here. How does a wave become a wave? First it's water, and then it becomes a wave, right? How does that happen? It swells up, right? That's what they call it. It swells up, it rolls, it increases like this. So fi zaman tamuju fihi al-fitan, in a time when the fitan, the plural of fitna, right? When the fitans, the trials and the tests are swelling, when they're growing, when they're, when the waves are getting there, it's kind of like a scary thing, right? When they're growing, when they're swelling, when they're increasing, right? Right? Kamawj al-bahr, when this is happening, when these trials and tests are swelling and growing, and like the waves of the ocean, or ashad, or even more severe min dhalik, even more severe min dhalik, or ashadda min dhalik, or more severe than that. So to seek knowledge, to show that its greatness is the fact that people seek it and they memorize it and they become well grounded in it, even in the times of fitna, right? That people still focus on this knowledge. They still focus on this act of ibadah, right? I gotta go down some. This, I tried to recalculate my pen, man, but I might have messed it up worse. He says, وَإِذَا كَانَ النَّاسُ فِي غَفْلَةٍ, and if the people, وَإِذْ كَانَ النَّاسُ فِي غَفْلَةٍ, if the people were in ghafla, a state of forgetfulness, like ghafilun, right? أو في سعي أو لهو, or if they're in sa'i is like struggle in pursuit of this life, right? The struggle and the pursuit here meaning of this life, right? وَلَهْوٍ, and play and amusement. Play and amusement, pastimes. Min umur dunya, they're sa'yin, they're struggling. Min umur dunya, from the affairs of the dunya, they're playing from the affairs of the dunya, they're just playing around. فَاللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ يَصْطَفَى مَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ, then Allah Azza wa Jal Yastafa, He chooses, from like the name Mustafa meaning chosen. Yastafa man yasha'u min ibadihi, whoever He chooses, man yasha'u min ibadihi, from His slaves. لِيَكُونُوا مُقَرَّبِينَ, to become, that they will become, this li here is for or to, kunu, that they be, that they become, muqarrabin, from qaf ra ba, right, to be from those who are close, qarib, muqarrabin, waliyakunu min awliyaihi, and to become from His awliya, His plural of wali, right? Friend. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, glorified is He the Most High. Haytha أن العبادة في زمن الفتن يعظم ثوابه. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. Haythu, until or where, and al-ibadah, the ibadah, the act of worship, fi zaman al-fitan, in the time of trials, yu'damu thawabahu, it increases its reward. Meaning that the ibadah done during the time of trials and tribulations is more than, the reward is more than the times of, there's not trials and tribulations, the times of ease and smooth going. Any questions about this? Okay. Let me see here. Trying to see. وَطَلَبُ الْعِلْمِ طَلَبَ. Well, here talabu, but not talab. This is the introduction of the book, but this is how the book is. We're reading the explanation of Nawaqid al-Islam. Well, talabul ilmi, and here it means the searching. It's not talabul ilm with an alif, right? The student of knowledge. Here it means in the seeking of knowledge. Naw'un is a type. Min anwa' al-ibadat. Naw' is type. Min anwa', the plural of naw', from the types al-ibadat, of acts of worship. Bal inna ba'da ahl al-ilm, rather, bal is rather, inna is emphasis, ba'da is some, أهل العلم, some of the people of knowledge, right? قدمه على الجهاد في سبيل الله. They قدمه, they preceded it, they put it forward, right? قدم meaning from قاف دين ما قاف dal meme, form number 2, meaning to put forward or to proceed, to present. قدمه, they put it forward على الجهاد في سبيل الله, over jihad in the way of Allah. قال ابن القيم بل هو نوع من الجهاد. He said, rather, it is a naw', a type من الجهاد, of jihad. بل هو أفضل الجهاد. Rather, it is the best jihad. وكذا قال شيخ الإسلام رحمه الله. وكذا mean and like this or likewise قال شيخ الإسلام رحمه الله. Now I don't know, was he referring to Ibn al-Qayyim here with Shaykh al-Islam, or was he referring to Shaykh al-Islam and Taymiyyah, saying both of them said the same thing? I don't know, right? But either way it goes, it's the same. If he says كذا قال Shaykh al-Islam, and this is what Ibn al-Qayyim said, or and likewise this is what Ibn Taymiyyah said, same thing, right? Oh yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out here. Do you want to read this, Abu Tahir?
طيب. فمن أعظم العبادات في كل عصر هو العلم. يتأكد العلم في
نعم.
علمه في طلبه وحفظه ورسوخ فيه في زمن تموج فيه الفتن كموج البحر أو أشد من ذلك.
Just to stop you. Just stop. كموج البحر. موج البحر. I don't know if you said that. You might have, and I just didn't hear it.
كموج البحر. نعم. أو أشد من ذلك. وإذا كان الناس في غفلة أو في سعي ولهو
نعم.
من أمور الدنيا، فالله عز وجل يصطفى من يشاء من عباده لا يكون مقربين ولا يكون من أوليائه سبحانه وتعالى، حيث أن العبادة في زمن الفتن يعظم ثوابها. وطلب العلم نوع من أنواع العبادات، بل إن بعد أهل العلم قدمه على الجهاد في سبيل الله. قال ابن القيم بل هو نوع من الجهاد، بل هو أفضل الجهاد. وكذا قال الشيخ الإسلام رحمه الله.
No. So Barry, you got your mic off. You want to read?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
No.
فمن أعظم العبادات في كل عصر هو العلم، ويتأكد العلم في قلبه ويتأكد العلم في قلبه وحفظه والرسوخ فيه في زمن تموج فيه الفتن
نعم.
كموج البحر أو أشد من ذلك. وإذا كان الناس في غفلة أو في سعي ولهو من
You faded out on us.
أمور الدنيا. Can you hear me?
Now we hear you now.
Is it lahwu or lahwi?
Lahwin because of the fee. أو في سعي أو لهو. Because of the fee, right?
أو لهو.
No, walahwin, Asif, you're right.
Right.
You're right. You're right. Wa.
Okay.
Walahwin.
ولهو من
And then you faded out.
Same part.
No. He's gonna come in, call us Sheikh al-Islam. We don't hear you, Zubair.
أمور الدنيا فالله عز وجل
Just stuffy, that's right.
يصطفي. Can you hear me now?
نعم.
من يشاء من عباده ليكونوا مقربين وليكونوا من أوليائه سبحانه وتعالى، حيث أن العبادة في زمن الفتن يعظم ثوابها. وطلب العلم نوع من أنواع العبادات، بل إن بعض أهل العلم قدمه على الجهاد في سبيل الله. قال ابن القيم: بل هو نوع من الجهاد، بل هو أفضل الجهاد. وكذا قال شيخ الإسلام رحمه الله.
نعم. ومن فضل الله عز وجل أن هذه العبادات لم تكن مقصورة على سن معين أو على جنس معين، بل كانت للصغار والكبار. ومن فضل الله, and from the grace or the virtue of Allah, the bounty of Allah Azza wa Jal, أن هذه العبادة, that this ibadah, and أن makes the noun following it mansub, but هذه never changes, but ibadah is the badal, so it would be an ibadata, right? أن هذه العبادة, that this ibadah, this act of worship, لم تكن, with a sukoon because of the lam, right? Making it majzoom. لم تكن مقصورة. It won't be مقصورة from qaf, Sad Ra, like the word qasir. But here it means not qasir, small, but limited to. Right? If there's a small amount of something, it's limited, right? Maqsura here means limited. Ala sin mu'ayyin. And here, ala means to, basically. Limited to. Sin mu'ayyin. Sin is age. Right? Like sinin. Right? Sinni khamsu wa arba'in. Or arba'un. 45, right? Sin, it doesn't, لم تكن مقصورة على سن معين. From ayn, ya, noon, meaning, ayn, meaning a lot of things. It has 12 meanings, I believe they say. 12 meanings. Ayn can be the letter ayn. It could be the eye. It could be a well. It could be the evil eye that you put on somebody, right? Here, ayn, the aynu shay, when you say aynu shay, you mean the thing itself, aynu shay. Like, for instance, when we're talking about a specific thing, right? And you're talking about that exact thing of it, you know, as an example, like parts, right? The aynu shay, the exact thing. Mu'ayyin here means like a specific, right? You're talking about the specific. It's not limited to a specific age. Oh, ala jins mu'ayyin, or to a specific jins, meaning a specific, basically gender, we can say here, right? Gender is not only for men, right? بل كانت للصغار والكبار. Rather, it is for, كانت is going back to our ibadah, للصغار, the young and the old, والكبار. صغار is the plural of صغير, كبار is the plural of كبير. ومن فضل الله عز وجل أن هذه العبادات لم تكن مقصورة على سن معين أو على جنس معين بل كانت للصغار والكبار. It is not for, and from the virtues of Allah is that this act of ibadah is not limited to a specific age or a specific gender, rather it's for the young and the old. Any questions? والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يهتم بجميع أفراد الأمة. فقال لابن عباس وهو غلام احفظ الله يحفظك. وأخذ العلم من النساء. وأخذ الصحابة العلم أيضا عن الكبار. وأخذوا العلم عن النساء. فدل على أن هذه العبادة وهي العلم ليست مقصورة على أحد. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يهتم, from hamim, meaning to sa'i or lahwin. Sa'yin or lahwin. Sa'yin, as we said, is from sin, ayn, ya. It is to busy yourself and to be striving and struggling in something, right? It doesn't have to be from the affairs of the dunya, but he put here min umur dunya, from the affairs of the dunya. You could say, for instance, nas'a fi bina al-masjid. We're struggling or striving to build a masjid, right? So you could struggle to take care of the widows and the orphans and the poor people. This is a good thing, right? But here, min umur dunya, Lahwan is play and amusement. Right? والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يهتم, as we said from Hameen. Hameen meaning to have like a concern, right? يهتم, he was concerned. He had a concern and a care. بجميع أفراد الأمة, with all, جميع, all. أفراد is the plural of fard, individuals. Not fard like with a dad, that becomes an obligation. But fard with a dal is an individual. Afrad, individuals. بجميع أفراد الأمة, he was concerned with all of the individuals of the ummah. فقال, so he said, لي ابن Abbas, to Ibn Abbas, وهو غلام, and he was a gulam, a youngster, right? He was a youth, right? This early teenage years, gulam, right? احفظ الله يحفظك, he told him, protect Allah or preserve Allah, and he will preserve you. احفظ is a command. احفظ الله, this kasra here is for reading purposes. احفظ الله, protect Allah, preserve Allah. And some people say what's missing here is like shara'i Allah, the sharia of Allah, right? But with the vowels, you know, being a fatha on the ha, and you could say ihfad Allah shara'i or ihfad shara'i Allahi, no problem, because the Prophet ﷺ didn't speak and then tell you what vowels on there, right? But the meaning here is preserve Allah's rules and guidelines. ihfad Allah yahfadak, he will preserve you, he will protect you. So he taught him that. The point is, he taught him that, and he was a youth. He was teaching him. He was even teaching a youth. He just didn't concern himself with Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman. Rather, he concerned himself with the youth. وَأُخِذَ is the majhul form of أخذ. أخذ, he took. Or أُخِذ, he was taken, or it was taken, right? أُخِذَ الْعِلْمُ, ilm was taken. Ilm was taken. من النساء, from women. وأخذ الصحابة, and the Sahaba took العلم, مفعول به منصوب, they took knowledge, أيضا عن الكبار, and here basically meaning from the kibar, at the hands of the elders. بل وأخذوا العلم عن النساء, and we said this is him speaking, he's talking. So if he repeats himself, right, then it's not a problem. So he says, وَأُخِذَ الْعِلْمُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ, knowledge is taken from the women. وَأَخَذَ الصَّحَابَةُ الْعِلْمَ أَيْضًا عَنَ الْكِبَارِ, and the Sahaba took knowledge also from the elders, from the older ones. بَلْ وَأَخَذُوا, rather, and they took الْعِلْمَ, they took knowledge عَنَ النِّسَاءِ, from the women. فَدَلَّ, so that proved, or that shows, dalla, like dalil, evidence, right? So that's evidence, that is the evidence, that is proof, but it's not a noun here, it's a verb, فَدَلَّ, so that shows, that provides evidence, عَلَى أَنَّ هَذِهِ الْعِبَادَةَ, عَلَى meaning that shows the fact, right, أَنَّ هَذِهِ الْعِبَادَةَ, that this act of worship, وَهِيَ الْعِلْمِ, and it is knowledge. Now earlier we said وَهُوَ, I don't remember the exact paragraph, where was it? Here, huwa, right, al-ilm, ومن أعظم العبادات في كل عصر هو العلم. Right? Here it says here, because we're talking about ibadah, and it's the same thing. And as we said, it's just speech. وهي العلم. That this ibadah, العلم, ليست مقصورة because of laysa, right? على أحد. It's not limited to anyone. على أحد. It's not limited to anyone. Any questions? You want to read these two paragraphs? Want to read these two paragraphs for us, Abu Tahir? The small one.
ومن فضل الله عز وجل أن هذه العبادة لم تكن مقصورة على سن معين أو على جنس معين، بل كانت للصغير والكبار. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يهتم بجميع أفراد الأمة آمة بأفراد الآمة.
No, You said it right.
أمة. فقال لابن عباس وهو غلام: احفظ الله يحفظك.
نعم.
وأخذ علم من النساء، وأخذ الصحابة العلم أيضا عن الكبار، بل وأخذوا العلم عن النساء، فدل على أن هذه العبادات وهي العلم ليست مقصورة على أحد.
نعم. جمعنا يا زبير.
I have a question. لم تكن مكسورة أو مكسورة؟
لم تكن, where we at? لم تكن مكسورة. Now you got me thinking. It might be, I fixed it and said مكسورة earlier, but it might be مكسورة اسمه خبر كان ولم تكن مكسورة. نعم مكسورة خبر كان منصوب. جزاك الله خيرا.
And when a verb is passive, then like وأخذ العلم, is that how it's gonna be read? العلم.
Yeah, because the ilm is what's being taken, so it's the fa'il here, right?
Okay.
We don't have the actual, when you have akhada, like akhada sahaba too, you have the actual fa'il, right? They're the ones who took. But since you don't have the one who took here, ukhida, then ilm would be the fa'il, like knowledge is taken. So it's like if you say knowledge is taken, then it becomes the fa'il because of this being passive. Whereas here, ilma is mansoob because the va, and it's the maf'ulun bihi, because akhada is ma'ruf, it's not majhul, it's active and not majhul.
جزاك الله خير.
وإياكم.
ومن فضل الله أن هذه العبادة لن تكون مقصورة على السن معين. Can you hear me now?
نعم.
مقصورة على سن معين أو على جنس معين، بل كانت للصغار والكبار. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يهتم بجميع أفراد الأمة.
نعم.
فقال لابن عباس وهو غلام: احفظ الله يحفظك. وأخذ العلم من النساء، وأخذ صحابة العلم أيضا عن الكبار، بل وأخذوا العلم عن النساء، فدل على أن هذه العبادة وهي ليست مقصورة على أحد.
نعم، جزاكم الله خيرا. وليكون المسلم because it's the اسم كان here. وليكون المسلم متقنا لهذه العبادة متعديا نفعه إلى غيره بها. صنف أهل العلم في كل فن من فنون العلم متنا ليسهل حفظه على المسلمين، وليجمع شوارده. نعم، وليجمع شوارده وليوضح مجمله، وليكون أسرع في الاستحضار. وليكون المسلم متقنا. Here this li is like sabab or for, and so that the Muslim will be mutqin. Mutqin meaning like from like the word itqan, mutqin meaning exact or perfect, right? From the root ta qaf noon. So be like perfect or skillful, all of that, right? A master in something. لهذه العبادة, basically that would be a good one, a master لهذه العبادة, of this act of worship. وليكون المسلم متقنا لهذه العبادة, so that a Muslim can be precise or masterful or skilled in this act of worship. متعديا نفعه إلى غيره بها. متعديا, as we said, there are verbs which are lazim and verbs which are muta'addi. Muta'addi from ayn, dal, ya, meaning that it surpasses itself, it goes outside itself. So fi'l lazim, for instance, jalasa, he sat. You don't need anything else. Jalasa is sufficient. Whereas ja'ala, he made, it needs something else. It needs a maf'ulun bihi. So it needs more than it. It's not, in and of itself is not sufficient. So muta'addiyan, meaning naf'ahu, it sends its benefit. One second. It sends its benefit, متعديا نفعه, its benefit إلى غيره بها. إلى غيره meaning to other than him. So that the Muslim can become skilled, right, in this ibadah. And these are like a lot of conditions here, this is like a lot of shart here, right, a lot of shurut. so that he can become skilled in this ibadah, متقنا لهذه العبادة, متعديا نفعه إلى غيره بها, meaning to spread its benefit to other than him, outside of him, to carry that benefit over to other than him with it. Sannafa, meaning with this act of ibadah. Sannafa ahlul ilm, ahlu, they're the ones who did it, ahlul ilm. Sannafa, they wrote, they authored, like the word musannaf, right? The musannaf is something put together. The musannif, the one who wrote or authored. Words authored fi kulli fen. Fen means subject or area or field of expertise, right? It can also mean like the arts. Fi kulli fennin min funun al-ilm. In every subject, in every category from the categories of knowledge. Matnan. Sanafa ahlul ilm matnan. They wrote a text. They wrote ليسهل in order to make easy hifdhahu, its memorization al-Muslimin, upon the Muslims. وَلِيَجْمَعُوا, and to gather shawaridahu. Shawarida means like scattered points of benefit. Shawarid is like the shard, like a shard, even maybe that's where the word comes from in English, right? A shard is like something that when you cutting wood and a piece splinters off or breaks off, right? The shard, right? Allah knows best, maybe that's where it comes from in English, right? That this, like a scattered, like I said, the scattered points of knowledge. So maybe in this book you find this faida, and in this book you find this faida, right? So they gather together all of these various points. وَلِيُوَضِّحُ from وَضَحَ, to make clear مُجْمَلَهُ. Mujmal meaning it's mujmal here meaning its general points. So maybe something isn't clear, so they specify it. Mujmal could be ambiguous, meaning it's general. Mujmal, like mujmal meaning it's just like from Jim, Mim, Lam. It's a bunch of stuff brought together and it might not be clear, so they come and yuwaddihu mujmalahu, and they clarify its generalities. Basically, that might be better, generalities. وَلِيَكُونَ أَسْرَعَ فِي الْإِسْتِحْضَارِ, and to be asra, like speedy, the speediest, the fastest. Fil istihdar, istihdar from hadar ra, meaning hadar meaning to be present, istihdar form 10 meaning to bring something like from your mind. Istihdar, like to bring it up and bring it forward right now. So if we read this paragraph and then we'll be done. I know I'm going over time right now. وَلِيَكُونَ الْمُسْلِمُ مُتْقِنًا لِهَذِهِ الْعِبَادَةِ, and so that the Muslim can become precise or skilled in this act of worship. مُتِعَدِّيًا نَفْعَهُ إِلَى غَيْرِهِ بِهَا, he will take its benefit and spread it to other than himself using this act of worship. صنف أهل العلم, the people of knowledge, wrote or authored في كل فن من فنون العلم, in every area or every subject from the subjects of knowledge, متنا, they wrote a text, ليسهل حفظه على المسلمين, in order to make easy its memorization for the Muslims, meaning to memorize this fen, not just the matan itself. They made the matan easy, but they also made the ability to memorize this subject easy. وَلِيَجْمَعُوا شَوَارِدَهُ, and to gather its various points of benefit. وَلِيُوَضِّحُوا مُجْمَلَهُ, and to clarify its generalities. وَلِيَكُونَ أَسْرَى فِي الْإِسْتِحْضَارِ, and to become and to be something quick, that you have something, you have the ability to quickly bring the evidence or the proof or the rule that you would learn from having this method. So it gives us a few benefits. Number one, you become mutqin, so that you be skilled. When you study these texts, you become skilled in that science. Also, you're able to carry the benefit to others because you memorized it or you learned it. So now you can carry that benefit to others. Right? So what does the matan do? The matan makes it easy to memorize. That's science. It also gathers up its various benefits. Right? So for instance, you take the Fathul Bari of Ibn Hajar, the Fathul Bari of Ibn Rajab, and you take the explanation of Bukhari by Fulan and Fulan and Fulan, you take 5 of them, they're all going to have different benefits. You bring all the benefits to one place. Right? وَلِيُوَضِّحُوا مُجْمَلَهُ, and to clarify its generalities. Right? And also to make it وَلِيَكُونَ أَسْرَى فِي الْإِسْتِحْضَارِ, that it becomes quick and you can be quick in your pulling forth the point. So you may know a subject and you may understand it and you're not a deviant because you have a general knowledge. But when you memorize a text, right? Like for instance, someone takes a goat, and because of the sheikh coming or the amir coming on the side of the road, he slaughters that goat. So the sheikh sees that we welcome him to the city, or the amir or the malik, the king, they see that we welcome him to the city. What's the ruling on this? Right? This is shirk. What do you mean it's shirk? What do you mean it's shirk, akhi? You know what I mean? What's your proof? Right? We got a lot of shirk fi ibadatillah. Al-awwal, shirk fi ibadatillah. Right? وقال الله تعالى إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء ومنه الذبح لغير الله كمن يذبح للجن أو للقبر. Right? So you're able to pull it forward. What about someone who does magic? لا, السحر. Right? ومنه الصرف العطف فمن رغب به. And you can just bring it forward like this, right? So when you can start to just pull it forward, that's the istihdar. So the benefit for us is that we become skilled in the subject and that we can pass on the benefit. And they wrote this matan so that we can easily memorize it, and that we can gather its points, and that we can clarify its generalities, and we can be quick in bringing it forward. Any other questions?
لا.
اقرأ لنا أبا طاهر.
وليكون المسلم متقنا لهذه
This li,
العبادة.
I'm sorry, 1 second. This li makes this mansoob. Right? That's why here we have this noon being missing. It's hadaf noon because of the li. And the same thing here. لِيُوَضِّحُوا وَلِيَجْمَعُوا. Right? So this li is going to make the verb following it mansoob. لِيَكُونَ.
ليكون المسلمات
المسلمون. نعم.
متقنا لهذه العبادة متعاديا نفعه إلى غيره بها. صنف أهل العلم في كل فن من فنون العلم فأن ليسهل حفظه على المسلمين وليجمعوا شوارده وليتوضحوا يوضحوا مجمله وليكون أسرع في الاستحضار.
نعم. You with us, Zubair? Maybe. Anyways, mic is off. Inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. Hopefully it's a benefit. Go over it, read it. I'll send you the PDF, inshallah, so you can go over it and read it. If you want to use the audio again or whatever, give it somebody in the masjid or something, no problem. But inshallah ta'ala, we'll meet tomorrow for class. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.